Welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell all the coolest Japanese collectibles and figurines straight out of Japan, and you can find out more details about us in the description of this video, including the link to the item page and our eBay store, and you can also check out our Facebook page. So, finally, here are the figures that everyone's been waiting for. So, I had plenty of pre-orders for these. We finally got them, and we will be sending them out to you today. This is the SCultures aka Tenkaichi Budokai, which means World Tournament Series 5 figures. And we've already had the first two release, which I have reviewed in a separate video, which was the Super Saiyan Goku and also the Bardock. Now this is a personal customized version that I have, but the figure itself, even though the coloring is different, is the same. And now we have Nappa and Raditz. Now the reason why, I know I say this in every video, the reason why they call it World Tournament is because people in Japan can actually vote for which figure they like. And they did something a little bit different this time, because you actually could only vote for sets of 2. So there's 6 figures in this line, so obviously 3 lots of 2, and so people could only vote for which set they liked the best. And probably not surprisingly, I guess, Super Saiyan Goku and Bardock won, which is what it says there, that it was the product that was voted the winner. But I have to say, actually, when I saw, the images for these pictures, I don't even remember when, it was a long time ago now, I was actually more excited by these two figures, and if I had to vote, I would have probably voted for these two. Not to say that the others aren't any good, but I was just more excited to see Nappa and Raditz, and it always seems to be actually very popular, these two characters, just because there weren't really any figurines of them, and they're not super important characters in the story. I will show you the figures, please be patient. Maybe I'll start showing you the box, but there wasn't really any figures of these guys released, outside of Japan many years ago. And then when Toy went bankrupt and Jakks Pacific bought the rights, they did actually release a 2-pack of Raditz and Nappa together. And it was actually when what was I going to say? I forgot. But these would have to be the coolest 2 figures of these 2 characters. So that's the box, and you'll notice that the Raditz figure is actually a little bit bigger. Now, for those of you already thinking about Series 6, which of course will come out this time next year, Banpresto actually just announced a few days ago that fans can actually vote for the first time which character they want to see. So you can actually vote before Banpresto have even done anything. So I'm going to be really interested in the results of that. There's still some pretty major characters that we haven't seen yet, including Android 17. I would actually love to see a Dabura figure. I have a really cool Toy one, but there's never been a Dabura figure in Japan, so that's one character I feel that's probably deserves a release. But yeah, majority of characters. There is one I'd actually love to see, and I'm going to say that because it actually has a lot to do with these figures. I'll say that later. I'm just showing you the figures, obviously, now. If you're wondering why I haven't opened them, I don't think I said this, it's because we really need to get them out to customers. And if I open one, then basically we can't send it to a customer because they'll be unhappy that their figure is open. So, yeah. But I should be able to show you a customized, repainted version of these in a couple of days, and then we can actually, show you it assembled and some moved around. But you can pretty much see. This is the actual figure, right? It's pretty heavy, Raditz. I'd have to say the Raditz is my favourite of the whole series. It's just an awesome figure. So anyway, that's what they look like. Now, in terms of their height, now they're not that big because of they're sort of in a crouch stance. And if I just try and, it's going to be a bit difficult, but so remember I haven't like assembled it, so you could subtract a couple of centimeters. So it's about 150 mil, about 6 inches. So that's how tall it is, which is, you know, pretty standard for this series. So they're a decent size. Now I have showed you the figures. You also get the base. This is what the base looks like. It does actually say Tenkaichi Budokai printed on the bottom. You can see the 5 pretty clearly. So, you know, you can impress your friends and say that you understand what that Japanese means. It means World Tournament. So what do I think about these figures? Look, they have not disappointed. They are, you know, they are really cool figures. I love the stance that they're in. You know, they're in that sort of fighting, ready to kick your ass kind of stance. You know, these figures are not, they don't move like all Banpresto figures. So it's pretty important that they choose a cool stance, and I mean, I don't think it gets much cooler than this. It's a pretty awesome, you know, look and style. So I really like that about it. I don't know why, but I love, you know, for me the Frieza saga is hands down the favorite saga of Dragon Ball, and so I just love anything with like the Frieza or Saiyan armor, whatever you want to call it, and the Scouters and all that sort of stuff. I just, you know, I'm just a sucker for it, really. I don't know why, but it's just very sort of Namek Saga or Frieza Saga reminiscent, and you know, it hasn't disappointed. I'm a bit, you know, the armor does actually have some cracks and things in it, as you can see, and I was sort of a bit perplexed at that first, because it looks, you know, they don't look dirty, or it doesn't look like they've been fighting. It looks like they're kind of ready for action. So at first I was a little bit sort of thinking like, why did they do that? But I guess, you know, realistically, you know, maybe they don't like, you know, throw their armor out each fight they have, so maybe that's from a previous fight or something like that. They've been in the rejuvenation chamber and they're ready to go again. So I actually kind of like the fact that they added that detail in, that it's not, you know, pristine, absolute, perfectly looking armor. It does sort of have little chinks and dints in it, but it's not the sort of battle damage style where you've got like huge chunks missing, like a shoulder pad, or like all cracked, like Bardock's. I mean, Bardock's is like proper, you know, battle damaged, you know, pieces missing and that sort of stuff. So that's what it really looks like. That's how they made it. So I'm really glad they actually added that detail. I'm really blown out by the Scouter. I mean, Banpresto have always managed to put pretty decent looking Scouters on their figures, even the older ones released nearly 10 years ago. But this is the first time they've actually got writing and like little sort of gadgetry, you know, you can see something printed on there. And, you know, to think that they've actually got that level of detail, for me, is just, that's pretty awesome. You know, that's why you know, buy Japanese figures, for that kind of detail. So even the teeth, the mouth, you know, all the muscles and things. That, you know, in terms of the sculpting job, you know, I really don't have any sort of improvements or complaints that I can say with this. It's pretty top notch. I really love Raditz's grin there as well. You can almost hear him cackling. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for the sculpt job. You know, if that's right, what else can you complain about? There's probably two little things, and they're little things, I guess, that I would sort of complain about. I think Nappa's armor, I would have liked to have seen it a little bit brighter. If you actually watch the series, you know, his armor is shown in different scenes, different colors. I can't say it's wrong, this color, but I really would have liked to have seen it a bit brighter, frankly. I mean, to me, when I think of Nappa, I think of that, you know, blue and yellow Saiyan armor, but they really went with sort of the darker, you know, kind of monotones. I mean, that's almost a black, and given that Raditz also has black armor, you know, they don't look overly dissimilar, which maybe was on purpose, because they wanted to make them, you know, they're both Saiyan warriors. But I really would have liked to have seen the armor a couple of shades brighter. It's not a big deal. I don't think it really detracts from the figure, but you know, just I'm interested what you guys think. But yeah, I definitely would have liked to have seen the armor, you know, a good couple of shades, a brighter blue. Also, this part would have been better to have it a bit more yellow. But anyway, the other thing that, in terms of Raditz, I love this figure. This is my favorite figure that's come out in a long time. I think it's just awesome. The other thing that I really would have loved to have seen is a Vegeta. There have been lots of Vegeta figures, but I mean the Vegeta when he first comes to Earth. I really, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to display just Nappa and Raditz because they were never shown together in the series. And I mean, it doesn't look out of place, but yeah, it's a bit strange to me. It's like buying a happy birthday cake without having happy birthday written on it. You know, you need to have the Vegeta to really show these three together. And you know, given that Banpresto did actually release or will release a Super Saiyan Vegeta in this very series, but it's when he fights Cell. And it just would have made sense to me that and they don't have themes generally with the SCultures line, but since they already had Bardock and Goku and now these two, why not just make it a Saiyan theme and, you know, release a Vegeta when he first comes to Earth and then maybe another character. Could be anyone. I mean, how many Saiyans are there? Broly, Turles? I don't care. So, or even one of the Frieza dudes, you know, Dodoria, Zarbon, whatever. Frieza. Still haven't seen a Frieza in the SCultures line, so yeah. So I was a bit disappointed by that, actually, which has nothing to do with the figures themselves, but just the lineup. So that's why I said I'm interested to see what figures you'd like to see in Series 6 next year. I would like to see a Vegeta when he first comes to Earth. That's probably what I'll be voting for. But if you do want the three of them together, there are these figures, which are the HSCF figures, high spec coloring figures. They were released, I think, around 2009. And yeah, they're a lot. Actually, they're not that much smaller, really. But they're obviously, you know, they are a smaller sized figure. But, you know, it's pretty cool having the three Saiyans. Where did my measuring tape go? So you can see the size of that is about 5 inches or about 12 centimeters. 12. Oh, they're that big. Okay, about 111. There you go. So they're, you know, they're still a decent size. They're over 2/3 of the height of the other ones. And if you actually have the Vegeta, Uzaru Vegeta, and Goku Ichiban Kuji, that is really cool as well. I've reviewed that in another video. That's a huge figure. It's amazing. I actually have it, but yeah, it's not. Yeah. And you know, these are kind of in the same scale as that one, but I'll put a link to that video in the description of this one so you can find it easily. But anyway, this video is getting too long, so that is the Nappa and Raditz SCultures Series 5 release. If you pre-ordered it, we will be sending it out today. And yeah, my thoughts on it basically is that they are amazing figures. Would have liked to have seen Nappa's armor a little bit brighter, actually quite a bit brighter. Also would have loved to have released a Vegeta so you could display the three together, but what are you going to do? They are still amazing figures, and yeah, looking forward to the SS Vegeta and second stage Cell coming out in a couple of weeks. So that's all for this video, and see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.